The cornfields behind the Whitaker farm stretched endlessly, a sea of brittle stalks rattling in the autumn wind like bones whispering secrets. For 19-year-old Mara Ellison, that sound had always been music, hollow, lonely, but comforting. The world beyond the farm felt distant, unreachable, full of lights she longed to touch but never could. Here, she could pretend she was someone else. Someone meant for more. Her parents didn't understand. They believed in hard work, quiet living, and strong fence around the animals, and around Mara's dreams. But Mara believed in pictures and stories. She wanted to be up on the silver screen one day, her face shining like the heroines she'd seen in the traveling picture show. But her father's silence was like a shutting door, and her mother's eyes tightened with fear. "Mara, don't fill your head with nonsense," her mother would say. But nonsense, Mara thought, was the only thing keeping her alive. One golden afternoon, as the sun leaned low and buttery over the fields, Mara wandered farther than usual. Freedom stretched before her in the shape of the whispering corn. She twirled between the stalks, pretending she was in a dance hall, the rose her adoring audience. Then she saw him, standing proudly in the center of a clearing, his straw-filled chest puffed with authority. The Scarecrow. His burlap face grinned stitchlessly under a wide-brimmed hat, his clothes once fine, a faded vest, a weather-worn bow tie. Something about him felt different today, more alive. Mara approached slowly. "Well, hello there," she whispered. Of course he didn't respond. He was just a clump of straw and rags. But in the bright hush of the afternoon, Mara pretended he was a dashing gentleman waiting for her. "You look like you could use some company," she chuckled, brushing dirt from his vest. "Or maybe I'm the one who needs it." Mara circled him, imagining he was the charming actor from the picture show Henry Bellwether, the handsome man whose poster she kept hidden beneath her pillow. She placed one hand on the Scarecrow's straw shoulder. "You know, Henry would take me away from here," she said softly, leaning closer. "He would tell me I was special." The wind blew. The Scarecrow's coat fluttered, brushing against her arm. In her mind, the Scarecrow was no longer an object. He was listening, watching, understanding. She stepped back and curtsied politely. "Would you like to dance?" The wind answered for him, pushing gently against her back. So she placed her hands where a real man's shoulders would be and moved in a slow waltz across the trampled dirt, humming a tune she barely remembered. The world dissolved. There was no farm, no chores, no expectations. Just Mara and the gentleman of her dreams. When the dance ended, she didn't want the feeling to leave. She ran her fingertips along the Scarecrow's faceless cheek. "You make me feel seen," she murmured. A gust of wind made his hat dip forward over his straw eyes as if bowing. Mara giggled. "You think I'm good enough, don't you? You think I could be a star?" Another rustle, louder, sharper. She froze. This time, the sound didn't come from the Scarecrow. It came from behind her. She turned. A crow perched on a broken fence post stared at her with a glossy black eye. It cawed sharply. "You hush," Mara snapped. "You don't know anything." But the crow cawed again. Mara's expression hardened. "Fine then." She spun back toward the Scarecrow and gasped. His head was tilted to the side. Had it always been like that? She couldn't shake the feeling that he was leaning toward her, as if he wanted to whisper something. She stepped closer. "Do you have something to tell me?" she breathed. Something inside Mara broke open. Something raw, wild, and hungry for affection. She rested her forehead against his chest. The straw smelled of dust and sunshine. "You're the only one who understands," she whispered. "The only one who doesn't judge me." A voice echoed across the field. "Mara," her mother. Mara clutched the Scarecrow's vest in panic. "I can't go back," she whispered fiercely. "I don't want to." Her mother called again, closer this time. The spell was breaking. Reality was returning, unwelcome and cold. "Don't leave me," she pleaded, staring at the stitched grin. He was nothing. But to Mara he had meant everything. She clenched her fists, anger seething. Why couldn't she stay? Mara, where are you? Her mother called, voice tired. Mara tore free from the clearing. I'm here, Mama. Her mother eyed her dusty clothes. Where have you been? Just walking. Her mother sighed. Dinner's almost ready. Come inside. But as Mara followed her mother into the dim farmhouse, she glanced back. The Scarecrow stood alone, and she felt his presence like a tug at her heart. She would go back, soon. That night, Mara couldn't sleep. The farmhouse felt suffocating. All she could think about was the Scarecrow. Just one more visit, she told herself. She crept quietly out the back door. The moon hung low, swollen and ghostly. When she reached the clearing, she saw him waiting, arms stretched wide as though welcoming her back. Oh, she breathed, relief washing over her. You are here. She stood before him again, feeling that same spark. Did you miss me? She whispered. His burlap face was unchanged, yet she imagined warmth in his silent grin. She lifted her hand, placing it against his rough cheek. It's you and me, she said softly. Only you understand what I want, who I want to be. The wind stirred, and this time it felt like an embrace. Mara rested her head against his chest. I'll become a star, she vowed. I'll shine so bright everyone will know my name. And when I do, I'll remember who was there for me. She smiled up at him. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll dance for you again. She kissed her fingers and touched them gently to his stitched cheek. Then she walked back through the corn, her steps lighter, her heart blazing with certainty. She wasn't alone anymore. The Scarecrow had seen her. The Scarecrow had understood her. And in her mind, the Scarecrow had chosen her.